Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. We are recapping the week's nerdy news from the Baxter building to 1930s New York and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson. With me as always, Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
Well, it's Super Bowl Sunday, so that means we got a bunch of trailers on things. And if you didn't see or didn't hear our review on the Flash trailer, feel free to check out, what just happened about 5.5 minutes ago in real time, but probably showed up significantly before that in your podcast feeds.
Yes, check out your, we exported this week's edition of Flash Watch, and into its own episode as we talk about the new trailer, a first official trailer for The Flash. I liked it quite a bit. Steve was a little wary of it, but you can listen to that episode to find out the details. There was also a new teaser poster for The Flash this weekend that we didn't talk about in that episode. I'll talk about it right now. It's just him standing like on a ledge in the Batcave, which is cool. And it's not the best poster of all time, but I liked it because I feel like, Steve, if you're with me on this, let me know. But I feel like 90 to 99% of movie posters lately, specifically superhero movie posters, are just a bunch of heads in like a collage in the middle of the poster.
Every one of them looks like an old Star Wars poster where they just had the faces around.
Yeah, especially, I mean, I don't mean to specifically throw shade at Marvel, but a lot of Marvel posters are just all the heads of all the characters in a collage. And I kind of miss like the old days of posters that were just like a weird looking image or something captivating, like maybe it was like a mysterious kind of, you don't know what it is, but it makes you want to see the movie to find out what it is. And I was just, okay, those are all the actors that I'm going to see in this movie. So,
well, and that's, I guess in modern times, that's part of it is you're just like, they're just trying to advertise who the actors that are in it are to draw people in.
Yeah. And I guess especially in a Marvel movie where you're like, look at all these characters that you already know that are all going to be in the same movie. You want to see this, So
look at this 20 years worth of people that you want to keep watching.
Exactly. But I fear the art of a good movie poster has fallen off in recent years, which is a shame. But shout out to the teaser poster for The Flash for not just being a bunch of heads. And check out that other episode in your podcast feed right now or in your YouTube, whatever feed, our YouTube page, whatever you call that.
Yeah.
For our reaction to the Flash trailer.
And leave a comment or review.
Yeah, please.
Or whatever.
Like it, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to us on YouTube. If you haven't listened, if you're not subscribed on your podcast feed, what are you doing? I mean, come on. You're listening to us right now and you're not subscribed?
Yeah,
what's the matter with you?
If you're listening to us right now and you've listened to us before, you had to go through the effort of finding us, downloading an episode, and clicking go. If you hit subscribe, it makes life a lot easier for you.
Yeah. So much easier. We're just trying to help you. We're trying to help you people.
And then if you leave us a review, it lets other people find us too.
Yeah, that's true. And then if we get so popular that people want to pay us to do this podcast, then that only helps you also. I mean, it helps us. But in turn, it helps you because then we can make the podcast even better than it is right now, which seems impossible, right? Seems pretty impossible, if you ask me. Anyway, speaking of trailers that dropped during the Super Bowl.
I don't know if it's a high bar, but it's a bar. We've set a bar.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to say about that. Yeah, I agree with you. There's a bar. A bar has been set. We got a second trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I should say real quick, we also got a 30-second TV spot for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which, like the Flash and Guardians Volume 3, we got like small 30-second versions of those trailers with expanded trailers online. That's not the case with Indiana Jones. It was you get a 30-second TV spot, and if you look it up online, it's still the 30-second TV spot. Yeah. That's like all it is.
And from that, the only thing, it looked fine. I mean, the only like groundbreaking anything was that scene with him and Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Like, that was the only thing we hadn't
Mads
seen.
Mikkelsen in the face, and him and Phoebe Waller-Bridge jump out of a plane.
Right.
So
Indiana Jones stuff.
Indiana Jones stuff, exactly. You get Sala going, give him hell, Indiana Jones, which is pretty great. Yeah, didn't raise my level of excitement, just like kept it where it was.
Yeah.
For, like,
Similarly, there's a bar.
Yep.
It met the bar.
Much higher bar than our podcast has set.
This
I
is
don't think that our
accurate.
podcast can compete with the hype surrounding Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones.
Yep.
But anyway, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, we got the initial trailer like a month ago, not even that long ago, 2 months ago, maybe.
Pretty quick.
This is trailer 2.
Which I'm
And this movie
surprised
comes
they
out-
drop now and not next week with Quantumania. No,
Yeah, I mean,
Thursday. Not even next week. Thursday.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, they're just capitalizing on the fact that it's the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
That's what
Gotta
they're
be.
doing. They want to put as many eyes on it as possible. And I'm sure both The Flash and Guardians of the Galaxy will be attached to Ant-Man and the Wasp,
Yep.
Quantumania. When it
And
hits
probably
theaters.
Indy.
And yep, probably Indy as well. We're just gonna start getting trailers for all the summer blockbusters already. So trailer season is open. I think it's like Super Bowl official opening of trailer season.
I think it
don't
might
know
be
if that's-
now.
I don't know if that's
Like,
a thing, but like,
If not, we're going to make it a thing because it's true.
yeah, I think we should make it a thing.
Yeah.
So Steve, what'd you think of you just watched it a second
Yeah.
ago before we started recording. What'd you think of the second trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3?
In the recurring theme, there's a bar. It met the bar. There wasn't
Sure
anything
did.
above and beyond. It was just
Yep.
like, yeah, this is going to be a Guardians movie.
Yep. It's definitely in a way where like I can't really piece together, like, as much as I was excited about the Flash, like I can more or less figure out like, okay, these things happen at the beginning of the movie and these things happen in the middle, and this is probably towards the end. I could be wrong about those things, but like that, based on what they show in the trailer, makes me able to put these together. Both these Guardians trailers, I don't really know what the main through line of this movie is.
Right. You have
I know it's got something
random-
with.
What's that?
It's got something to do with the High Evolutionary
Yep.
and how he created Rocket, seemingly. They're in prison at one point. They're out of prison at other points. I don't know when those things happen. They're with Gamora. They're not with Gamora. Like,
Right.
how does she end up back with it? Like, I don't know any of that. So they're
Adam Warlock
trailers-
is seemingly with the High Evolutionary, which he historically was, but also after that becomes a Guardian for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So it's like,
Well-
by the end of this film, I would assume Adam Warlock has turned to the good,
agreed.
and that's the big payoff at the end, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, James Gunn has described him as not a nice guy.
Yeah.
I think. In
which
this
he
movie.
wasn't. I mean, he was
He's not.
I mean, he was working with the High Evolutionary for years.
So I think this was good. This is the full trailer was definitely different than the 30-second spot. I think there was some gag about. Couldn't even really hear it in the room that we were in when we saw the Guardians trailer, because I don't think we were ready for it. I didn't know.
Oh
there
no,
was
you
going to be
literally
another
tapped me
Guardians
on the
trailer.
shoulder and were like, "Dude, Guardians."
Yeah, I was
It's
like, "Hey,
oh,
Steve,
okay.
something's happening." I knew that Flash was the only movie trailer I knew we were getting at the Super Bowl. I hadn't heard anything about Guardians or Indy, or I think there was a new Dungeons and Dragons trailer also that I missed.
Yeah.
But I didn't know about any of those, so I wasn't prepared for it. And I think the volume was a little bit lower on the TV that we were on the house we were at. But there's a whole gag with like Drax sitting on a couch when he's not supposed to be, or something like that. I didn't really get.
Yeah,
I
at
didn't
the
really hear
beginning
it, but None of that was in the full online trailer. So they're definitely.
No, the couch
know,
thing was
teasing some
the opener for the.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was like expanded even. I think.
Oh, not in the one I watched. Interesting.
I don't know.
Interesting. Anyway, I don't know.
Either way,
My
it
one-
did make sense. It was just standard Quill and Drax bantering back and forth, and
Sure. Yeah. I'm excited about this movie because I feel like we've talked a lot lately about how like the hype surrounding the MCU is not quite what it used to be, at least for like you and me, and I know for like a lot of other people. I think yours probably a little bit more higher than mine. I'm still gonna go see all these movies. I'm not really excited about Ant-Man, but I'm definitely gonna go see it so we can talk about it.
right. I mean,
Um,
I'm excited about Ant-Man almost strictly because Jonathan Majors as Kang has me very
Yeah.
intrigued.
Yeah. Although I've heard some mixed initial reactions to that movie.
Oh,
Like,
really?
There's no like reviews, but I've heard like just some
Yeah.
mixed things. So
Now,
I don't know, who knows how
They
that's
had
gonna
the red
fly.
carpet for that, right? Like that's screeners are
I
out on
believe
that.
so.
Just the embargo hasn't lifted.
Yes,
Okay.
I believe so. Yeah, so we'll see as we get closer. Although I don't plan on reading any reviews before I go see it, but I'll read maybe a headline.
Yeah, I was
or
gonna
a
say,
reaction
well,
or two.
you'll inevitably catch something somewhere.
Yeah,
You'll catch
I'll
a stray.
catch a whiff.
Yeah.
But unless I'm not thinking of another filmmaker paired with a franchise, as far as like true auteur filmmakers go, you got Ryan Coogler in the Black Panther franchise, which we don't know what the next step of that is going to be. I don't think that he signed on for a third Black Panther necessarily.
I don't believe so.
And you got James Gunn in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and this is the last James Gunn movie. And I look at this trailer, and I think, wow, this looks like a James Gunn movie, and the effects look great, and it looks like it's well made. It looks like something was made by someone that understands these characters, and of course, James Gunn has spent so much time with these characters that he really understands them. They're written very well. They're written to be themselves. They're written to be the versions that we love. It's not like someone else came in and took over and made this movie, like almost happened when he got fired for a hot second there from Disney. But I'm genuinely excited about this movie because it feels like it's saying something other than plugging a hole in the plot line of the MCU. You know what I mean? Yeah. Where I can't necessarily say that I feel that way about Ant-Man and Quantumania. And I'm comparing it to that because that's the other Marvel trailer that I've seen most recently, you know. Whereas Ant-Man looks like it's furthering a story, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 looks like its own thing, that it's just going to be its own thing. I'm sure there's going to be maybe some loose connections, or certainly down the line, there's going to, like, Adam Warlock is definitely going to show up in
whatever
Kang Dynasty or Secret Wars or whatever, you know, like, definitely not the last time we're seeing that character. So, but it just looks and has a feel to it of a movie that is bigger than just another episode in this giant TV show that is the MCU. You know what I mean? And that's what makes me the most excited about seeing it. The most excited I've been about a Marvel movie since I saw Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. And that more or less lived up to my hype for it.
Yeah.
As well. So.
All right. Yeah, that's fair. And I guess it's at this point the MCU magnum opus for Gunn. So we'll see if he goes out, with a bang or a whimper. I mean, there were a lot of mixed feelings on Guardians 2. I think the last time I rewatched it, I warmed a little on it compared to where I was.
I plan to watch both of those.
Yeah.
Again before this third one comes out, because the second one, I agree, like, there's stuff that works really well and there's stuff that didn't really work well for me. I've seen it 2 or 3 times maybe. But I'll definitely revisit it and kind of keep it in mind as just like a whole, a piece.
Yeah.
Basically, you know. Also, I thought it's so weird. Like, we talk for so many weeks, we've been talking about James Gunn and the DC universe. And it's just funny, like, tonight he retweeted both the Flash trailer and the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 trailer. It's like, he's still working for Marvel until this Guardians movie's out. Like, he's still doing both jobs. So it's just funny to see him promoting both. It just feels like this movie just feels, I don't know that Marvel has any other pairings of filmmakers and franchises that aren't more controlled by Kevin Feige than controlled by the writer-director of those franchises. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, they got Chloe Zhao and made The Eternals.
That's true. And you know what? Lately, I've been thinking I need to watch The Eternals again, because I liked that movie.
I liked it more than
a lot
most.
of people did.
Yeah.
And I think I watch it again.
Right. It was not a masterpiece by any stretch, but it was not garbage.
No, not at all. And I think, like, you're going in like, this is an MCU movie, and I can't wait to see the same kind of, like, beat 'em up action that I'm used to. And you get a little bit of that, but not as much as you'd expect, especially in a 3-hour long movie. So I feel like I need to go in with my expectations more set, and then, like, let it hit me as like a film versus, like, I think I went into going, how is this going to move the story forward? And it doesn't really. But it doesn't have to. And now I'm in a place where I'm like, I kind of want movies that don't necessarily move the story forward or don't play into the mythology, but just give me like a good movie, you know? So I'm hoping that's what Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is when it comes out this summer. Speaking of movies that haven't come out yet, but we're excited about, we got some not bombshells, not huge news, but some information on Fantastic Four, Marvel's Fantastic Four. By the way, most of this episode we're talking about Marvel stuff.
Yeah,
so.
we've rode the DC train for a while. Now we're hopping on Marvel.
Yeah. DC news is finally slowed down. DC speculation and news is finally slowed down. And now we're into some Marvel stuff. And honestly, like, it's pretty slow week. Like, these Marvel stories aren't ones that sometimes we would even talk about, because sometimes they're like speculation or stuff that almost happened but didn't. But, we're filling some time.
Yep.
Director Matt Shankman, who also worked on WandaVision for Marvel as directing the Fantastic Four, talked about his choice leaving Paramount Star Trek 4. He was in production on that, to board Fantastic Four, and said he confirmed that Fantastic Four starts shooting next year, and said, when the Fantastic Four opportunity came up, it was just too hard to pass up. And to go back home to Marvel, a place where I worked on WandaVision with those people who are wonderful collaborators. He said he has, quote, a few more months on the Godzilla series for Apple TV, which I forgot that he was involved in the Godzilla TV series.
I forgot it was even happening.
Yeah, and then he's moving full time into production on Fantastic Four. So still going to be a while until they get up to shooting. So they're shooting early 2024, I guess. And I think the release date isn't until 2025.
Right.
So
which makes sense. I mean, usually they've been slotting almost a year for post, so all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, hopefully that is enough time to make a good movie and not rush it and not rush the effects. I saw somebody share an unedited just scene from Thor: Love and Thunder on Twitter, and I watched it again and I was like, yikes. And the effects just did not look great. And I know that movie got a lot of flack for the effects not looking great, and I just forgot. I guess I was like, wow, yeah, that's blatant. She is standing in front of a green screen, and you can tell it does not look good at all. Anyway, slight digression. He also mentioned, this is speaking of digressions, this is another one. He mentioned that Star Trek 4 apparently is not completely dead at Paramount just because he left the project. This would be the fourth movie with the Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, Zoe Saldana cast. Not completely dead. He thinks they're still developing things that he was working on when he was doing that. So that's something. And also he confirmed that the Godzilla series does tie into the films. It's set in the same universe as the ongoing Godzilla King Kong films. There's going to be some overlap, but not like anything that's so intertwined like the MCU. Anyway, more Fantastic Four quotes from producer Steven Broussard. He's an MCU Marvel producer. He says he's not exactly specifically working on Fantastic Four, but he did say that it is going to embrace the source material. And the quote was, one of the founding principles of Marvel, going back to Iron Man and the casting of Tony, that I think has resonated through today, is to embrace the source material and these comics that have been around forever. In 2005, he's talking about the year that the first Fantastic Four film came out. And I believe he's also referencing all the subsequent Fantastic Four movies, the subsequent two. He said, maybe there was a reticence to fully embrace what it was in everything, the embodiment of Galactus and things like that. Whatever form the story takes, whatever characters do or do not appear, the founding principle will be embraced and will welcome them into the MCU. So that's good to hear.
I mean, that's good to hear, and also factually inaccurate. Saying that since time they've always embraced the source material.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, well, it's a little corporate speak there.
Yeah, but they have, I mean, more so than, I mean, when the MCU started, it was like, they're giving us bright color costumes. I feel like if they made an Iron Man movie in the late 90s or early 2000s, similar to X-Men, he'd be wearing like all black and silver. He'd look like War Machine, you know, his armor, it wouldn't be the bright red. If they made a Captain America movie in the early 2000s, they'd figure out a way to really dumb down that bright blue and red, white, and blue color. Like,
you never would have gotten like the original with the wings and the
exactly. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I mean, I know what you mean, but I also know what he means when he says they embrace the source. Like, they're not scared of the weirdness. Like I said in our Flash, in our Flash recap of the trailer, they talk about the ring and how he keeps his suit inside a ring in the comic books, and like that's a weird thing to show in live action. Although I do think that the show did that as well in recent seasons. But there's no
Yeah.
way that if they made a Flash movie in 2005 that they would have dared to do the ring thing. Like, that's too silly. We got to keep it dark and cool and edgy or whatever.
Right. And yeah, you're right. Even with like the X-Men movies, it was very, very similar along that vein. Until later on when like Future Class and all, or First Class and all that, where they somewhat embraced some of the costuming and a little of the more ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, you're right too. Like, as much as they embrace, like, okay, well, we're doing Spider-Man again, so he's gonna be a teenager, and he's not gonna be sure of himself. He's gonna be in high school. He's gonna be like, he's gonna have kid problems. Like, that's all great. But also, we're gonna give him an Iron Man designed suit that helps him do absolutely everything.
Right.
So like, that's also a skew from a lot of the source material.
Yeah.
Not all the source material though.
I was gonna say there was an Iron Spider around.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, these characters have been around for 60 years, so you could argue in a lot of instances, like, well, that one time
Right.
they did do this.
They took this and not that. But like, stuff like with the Guardians, you pull together a team that was never together, and like Drax's characterization is dramatically different and some other stuff. It's like, there's,
I think
in the grand scheme of things, I think he's right that they have been, truthful to the source material. Funnily enough, I almost would say that like the Raimi verse was probably the closest because it was the most comic booky.
That's true in tone.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I think they pull from the source material when they know that they can make it work, and they change it when they know they can't.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's something that works in a comic but doesn't work on film, then you have to adapt the source material. But if it's just like,
and the things
they're like, this is too weird for a movie, it's not too weird for a movie. We're all invested in the life of a talking raccoon and a talking tree. Like, it's not too weird for a movie. Like, we're in.
Yeah,
just sell it to us.
You guys already proved that we will watch this.
Yeah, we're in, man. Make it work. I'll watch a suit fly out of a ring and have somebody put it on at super speed. I'm done.
Yep.
Great, I'm in. Cool. So yeah, obviously
Peter Quill's father is a planet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, okay.
Right.
We're fine.
Yeah. I saw Harley Quinn kill a giant starfish with a spear.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm in, and it's one of my favorite movies of all time.
It was so good.
I'm down. Give it to me. I'm down. So yeah, obviously Fantastic Four is a big movie on the horizon, and very excited to. Oh, he also mentioned that any casting rumors you've heard so far are lies. They haven't started casting. Like, they're very early stages on that. So anything that you've heard, not true. So don't believe anything you've heard on the internet as far as casting around Fantastic Four.
All I ask is for this movie that they handle the dynamic of the Marvel's first family.
Yeah, me too.
Right. Like, you can flub the villain, you can flub whatever. I mean, if it's Doom, like, don't screw that up. But like,
please.
But like, get the family dynamic right, and that's all you have to do, and you will be fine.
Yeah, I agree.
That's the reason why everybody liked them. It was the whole like, Also, Reed Richards is an asshole.
Yes, but that's also a thing that makes them unique. Like, Spider-Man's a kid, so it sets him apart from other heroes. Like, well, these people are a family; they're stuck with each other.
Yeah,
I mean, the Thing obviously is like a friend, but like the rest of them, they're a family. So like, lean into that, and it'll feel like a different movie instead of being like, oh, this just feels like every other superhero movie.
Make
like
the goddamn Incredibles in live action, and you'll have a fine movie,
dude. When I was making our rundown today, I had a Fantastic Four article open to get this quote, and my son came over and he saw like a picture of the Fantastic. I don't think he'd ever seen the Fantastic Four before. He goes, "Whoa, who's that?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, that's the Fantastic Four." I was like, "This is Mr. Fantastic. He has got stretchy powers. This is an invisible woman. He can turn invisible, make force fields. This is a Human Torch. He lights himself on fire. This is the Thing, and he's like a big rock monster." And he goes, "Oh, Mr. Fantastic is kind of like Plastic Man, but also like remember in The Incredibles that the mom?" And I was like, "Elastigirl?" He goes, "Yeah, Elastigirl." I was like, "Yeah, you're right. She is like Elastigirl."
And the daughter that
is
can
like
go
Elastigirl.
invincible.
And he goes, and Invisible Woman is like the daughter. And I was like, "Yeah, you know what, buddy? Incredibles stole a lot from the Fantastic Four. Like, he knows the Incredibles more than he knows the Fantastic Four." how many kids
Oh yeah,
in 2023 are more familiar with the Incredibles than they are with the Fantastic Four?
every
And
one
how
of
many
them.
I can't wait to see like either dumb tweets or dumb, YouTube videos when the Fantastic Four movie comes out from like young Gen Zers, young side of the Gen Z generation
Yeah.
being like, well, they're just ripping off the Incredibles. Like,
Well,
someone's going to be an idiot.
It's like we were talking
claim
about
that.
for the Weird Al movie,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
they flipped it, and that Eat It was the parody or the original, and Beat It was the parody.
So
And it's
funny.
like that's what they're gonna see when the
That's what they're gonna
Fantastic
think.
Four
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
out. It's like
Yeah, that's what they're going to think.
yeah.
Um,
But The Incredibles was the best Fantastic Four movie that has been made.
it still is.
Yeah.
The Incredibles and The Incredibles 2 are
Right.
both the two best Fantastic Four movies that have ever been made. Yes.
Absolutely.
Hopefully until this one. We'll see in 2025. But you know what? The Incredibles is one of the best superhero movies ever. So it's
is.
going to be real hard to surpass that.
Yep.
Real hard. Speaking of greatest superhero things ever.
You could have left it at greatest superheroes. After that, it got a little muddy.
Superheroes. Yeah, I should have said that. Because we're going to talk about Spider-Man, but not the Spider-Man you're used to. We're talking about Spider-Man Noir. Sony.
Starring Nick Cage?
Oh, man. Probably not.
I don't think so, but that'd be awesome.
Sony, in their infinite spider wisdom, is developing a Spider-Man Noir. Do you like that? You like that, Steve?
Their spidey sense is really fucking off.
For a company that has owned Spider-Man for decades, their spider sense seldom tingles. Unless they're greenlighting anything Spider-Verse related.
Yeah.
That was a big win for them, but
Although this is going to be animation, so
Oh,
wait.
Is it going to be animation? I didn't see that.
I just assumed it was going to be animation. I'm
I don't
really
think
worried
it is,
now.
dude.
I'm really, really worried now.
I don't think it is.
Oh god.
Yeah. Anyway, let's tell the people what we're talking about, I guess.
Sure, why not?
Sony is developing a Spider-Man Noir series at Amazon Prime. Oren Uziel is writing the series, and he's also going to serve as executive producer alongside Amy Pascal. She has produced every Spider thing at Sony for the beginning of time. Phil Lord and Chris Miller, creators and producers of Spider-Verse and other things. Oren Uziel's credits include 22 Jump Street, The Cloverfield Paradox, 2021 Mortal Kombat reboot, and John Wick 4, upcoming John Wick 4. Character of Spider-Man Noir, who you might remember as being voiced by Nicolas Cage in Into the Spider-Verse in a hilarious, wonderful way, was created in 2009 by David Hine, Fabrice Sapolsky, Carmine Di Giandomenico, and Marco Gerverek.
I love just letting you do that. It's always
hilarious.
hilarious.
I gotta let you do. I didn't look at any of these names. I just copied and pasted them, and I didn't even try to pronounce them. But boy, sorry that I butchered those names.
Marco Gerverek.
Thank you. Spider-Man Noir was created in 2009 by those people. He's a version of Peter Parker that exists in 1930s, like Great Depression era in New York City. It's a bit darker in tone, a little bit more violent. However, this series will not be Peter Parker behind the mask. It'd be somebody else, but assumedly with all the same powers and things. Steve, what do we think about Spider-Man Noir as a series at Amazon?
I thought it was a weird run to begin with, and I thought it was very cool that they did the cameo in Into the Spider-Verse, and I think Amazon probably thinks that it's cooler than it is.
Yeah, I don't... This doesn't jump out to me as something that needs to be its own series.
Who's going to watch this? I mean, yes, we will, but like
you and me.
There's what is the modern draw for 30s depression era noir film?
Man.
Like it was a
Especially
cool one-off miniseries when they did it originally, and yeah, they expanded on it, but it's like it was a cool concept. And then like why?
It's a cool enough concept to make it a jokey thing in Into the Spider-Verse.
Right, with Nick Cage, as we were referencing
with Nick
before.
Cage, yeah. But I don't know if this is the play, like, especially when there's so many other Spider characters that you could develop a series around. Like, reminding our audience, this is not the first series that is in development at Amazon Prime. It's the second one. We announced a few months ago, or we didn't announce it, they announced it, and we talked about it. Silk, the Spider Society series is developing, and that's still happening at Amazon.
Dude, make a Black Cat series.
Yeah. Yes.
Like
so many other side characters, even if they're not Spider characters. And I can see maybe, okay, you're using Spider-Punk or whatever in Across the Spider-Verse, so you don't want to, but who cares? Is it really like that? Who's gonna care?
Right.
I don't know. I feel like,
I mean, hell, do Doc Ock's Superior Spider-Man. That was an awesome run.
Or, God damn it, a Miles Morales series.
At this point, I'm convinced there's got to be some legal reason that they can't do that, because if you haven't, then all of Sony is really dumb.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, put the kids to bed, but it is fucking insane that Miles Morales has not even been teased. I guess, sorry, he has been teased tangentially.
In the Marvel stuff, though.
In MCU, and there's a line towards the end of No Way Home where either Jamie Foxx or talking to Andrew Garfield says there's got to be a black Spider-Man somewhere, right?
Well, and even before
there has to be.
Even before that, you had the Aaron Davis stuff with Donald Glover, and
Donald Glover is in.
I kept trying to say Daniel Glover, and I was like, no, it's not Danny Glover. It's not Lethal Weapon.
I had to make myself not say Childish Gambino. I was like, that's his rap name. What's his real name? Donald Glover. Lando Calrissian.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just wild.
Spider-Gwen.
It's wild.
Like, go Spider. Run it back in any way, shape, or form.
Ben Reilly.
Right.
I don't know. Give me something. Who knows? Maybe this is going to be great.
But do Ben Reilly and don't reference the Clone Saga at all, because that just gets messy.
I hope this is good. I hope I watch this and go, damn, this is better than I expected.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Spider-Man, I want to see Spider-Man. And I don't necessarily want to see a weird, low-tech 1930s version of Spider-Man. Like, I didn't read Spider-Man Noir. I thought he looked cool, but it wasn't cool enough for me to read that series.
Yeah, same. I got the Cliff Notes. That's all I needed on that one.
Exactly.
Saw a cool cover. That was about it.
So we'll see. I mean, I don't even know if this has been green lit. They're just developing it. So Silk obviously is going to be the first one that hits screens as long as development on that one continues. And I'm way more excited for Silk. I'm excited to see a Silk series more than I am for Spider-Man Noir.
Well, and that makes sense. Like, it's the first one that they announced that actually makes sense.
Yeah. Including
all the movies. I mean, I guess the Venom movie made sense, but beyond that, no.
It did and it didn't.
It did that. Of all the Spider adjacent properties, that's one that I would have expected them to at least try to cash in.
It makes sense in that they made one because he was a popular character.
Right.
Yes, that makes sense. It doesn't make sense that they made one without Spider-Man in it.
Also true.
Still, I will go to my grave saying that they should have not made a Venom movie without even referencing Peter Parker's symbiote suit.
Can they, if they're going to lean into it, at least go to, Flash Thompson's Anti-Venom or something. Like, go all the way. Go whole hog into this thing.
Yeah. And that's the other thing that I don't know, what are they going to do now? Okay, yes, at the end of, spoilers for No Way Home. At the end of No Way Home, post-credit scene, Eddie Brock leaves a little bit of the symbiote suit wherever he is in Mexico or something. So, are we just going to get a different person as Venom, or are we just going to get a different, what's going to happen in the mainline MCU with that little drop of symbiote? Sure,
I'm calling it.
Peter Parker, he's going to have a black suit.
I was going to say, I'm calling it setting up for Secret Wars. They'll do black suit in Secret Wars, and that's it. And then bring Venom into the real deal.
I don't know what they're doing, man.
Neither do they. Well, they probably do, but I don't. Yeah,
Yeah. Speaking of weird behind the scenes Sony and Marvel Spider-Man stuff, we found out this week that when we're talking about Spider-Man Homecoming earlier, the first outing of Tom Holland as Spider-Man in the MCU, John Leguizamo, actor extraordinaire John Leguizamo.
Luigi himself.
I forgot that he was Luigi.
Yep.
You could have named so many other great movies that he's been in, and you.
Oh no! Straight to Luigi.
Yeah. John Leguizamo was supposed to play the Vulture in Spider-Man: Homecoming. Apparently, Michael Keaton was the studio's first choice, but he pulled out of negotiations, so they went with Leguizamo. He already signed to film. Like, he was ready to film that movie as the Vulture. And his quote, he was talking to some outlet about something else, and they asked if he'd ever want to be in a Marvel movie or something like that. And he said, I was supposed to play the Vulture. We had negotiated, and I was about to play him. And then they said that Michael Keaton wanted it back, and they asked me if I would give it up. Wow. And I said, well, okay, I guess. And they said, no, we'll work with you again. We're gonna. That's what happened there. They offered me something tiny, and I went, nuh-uh. So I guess they like offered him a small role. It's like a consolation prize. And he was like, nah, I'm going to hold out for something good, which I think is smart because John Leguizamo, like, he's not necessarily an A-lister, but he is a phenomenal actor.
He's definitely that guy actor too. Like,
yeah, he is great in everything that you see him. Whether the movie's good or not, he is great in everything, and he fully commits to every role that he's playing.
Okay, the second part you had me at, because if you'd seen The Pest, nothing was great about that.
Oh, okay, yeah. I did not see that, but I definitely
I can remember that from the 90s that it was not a thing.
But he was also the bad guy in Spawn.
I was going to say, Spawn, I was like, this is not his first reference to a comic book movie.
Yeah, and like he's in like Moulin Rouge in like a bit part, but he's like great in that. Like he's just a really good actor.
He was Sid from Ice Age.
Yeah. And he's been in other stuff too. So I think it would have been a different take, but
yeah, he could have pulled it off.
He definitely could have done it. Like, he would have been super menacing. Like, I think immediately when I think of the Vulture in Homecoming, I think of that scene in the car when he's saying, when he finds out who he is and he turns around and says, I'll kill you and I'll kill everyone you care about.
Mm-hmm.
John Leguizamo definitely could have delivered that
100%.
in a powerful way.
Yeah,
for sure. And I would love to see him in one of these superhero movies, whether it's Marvel or DC. Like, I would love villain, hero, whatever. I would love to see John Leguizamo in something.
I'm curious. Like, the thing, Keaton, it may just be because we got Keaton, but like him answering the door and stuff like that, like those scenes, it was just like, there's something about something about Keaton that screams to me like more innocuous suburban dad.
Yeah.
That's just like, it might just be because he's older, or I think of him as older than Leguizamo. Like, for some reason in my mind, Leguizamo's still like 30 something, even though he's probably the same age or just younger than Keaton.
Right. Yeah.
But it's like the gray-haired balding dude, I think.
I think it also definitely added to that twist. Like, that twist in spoilers for Homecoming. If you haven't seen this movie.
Yeah.
You should. It's great. That twist is built on the audience's inherent racism, where the girl that Peter has a crush on is a person of color, and so therefore no white person could ever be related to her. You know what I mean? Like, we're instinctively shocked when he opens that door and he's Liz's dad.
Yep.
You're like, what the fuck? And then you're like, oh yeah, of course he can just be married to a black woman. Like, yeah, of course. But the audience's inherent racism tells you that there's no possible way that he could be behind that door, that there's no possible way that he's going to be in there. And it's so shocking because no one is thinking that. It's so shocking. I didn't see this movie. I didn't see the movie in the theater. I watched it at home after it came out because it came out the year my son was born. So I had no time for anything. But when my wife and I finally sat down and watched it, we like leapt off the couch when he opened that door.
Yeah.
And it was him. I went, whoa.
Yeah.
And then that whole, the following scene is like the most tense scene in any MCU movie, hands down. And it still works to this day. Like, even though the shock of that twist isn't there for me, the tension
of the scene is definitely still there.
The tension following is so palpable.
Yep.
And Tom Holland plays it great. Great. So, all to say, and like, this is just a white guy talking, so like I could be way off base here, but John Leguizamo also being a person of color, I think that twist still would have worked, but it would not have been quite as shocking because, it's not playing on our inherent racism quite as much as it is with its Michael Keaton, white, very white, suburban dad, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
I wasn't crazy, by the way. There's a 11-year age difference between Keaton and Leguizamo. So my brain that's still stuck in like 1999 and thinks that was 10 years ago is like, Leguizamo's young. Like, there's no way that could work.
He's a young guy.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
No.
Although he did voice the Riddler in Batman: The Audio Adventures, which I did not know.
That's true. The podcast. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
He's all over the place, and was apparently in Violent Night. He was Scrooge in Violent Night.
Oh yeah, that's right. I've seen him in the trailer. I didn't see Violent Night, but I remember him being in the trailer and being like, "Oh shit, it's not Leguizamo. Great." I love that guy.
And he was Bruno in Encanto.
That's right. And he was in Encanto.
But we don't talk about it.
We don't talk about that. Yeah. Great reference. I wish I had made that joke. Speaking of other Marvel things that almost happened but didn't, this is a big one. And we knew part of this story. We knew there was tension here, but we did not know that in 2015, Kevin Feige, Mr. Marvel, head of the MCU, was almost fired from Marvel Entertainment in 2015. Former Marvel Entertainment chairman Ike Perlmutter wanted to remove Kevin Feige and retain total control of the MCU himself. Now, we've known in the past that there were tensions between this Ike Perlmutter dude and Kevin Feige. Ike Perlmutter was, as I said, chairman of Marvel Entertainment. Feige was like the creative director or whatever. I don't know his exact title, but he was like in charge of like, getting the story together and like putting these movies out. Part of what we knew is that Ike Perlmutter was standing in the way of Kevin Feige having free reign over this universe. Ike Perlmutter said no to introducing characters that were people of color, movies that surrounded female characters, women characters. And that's why it took so long to get a Black Panther movie. That's why it took so long to get a Captain Marvel movie. It's because this guy
Black Widow
no.
too. Black Widow was supposed to have a solo in Phase 1, and he nixed it.
Yep, because he believed, like so many executives of the past, that female or women-led movies don't make money, or movies led by people of color don't make money.
Yep,
this guy's clearly a grade A-hole. But apparently, the clashing got to the point where he wanted to fire Kevin Feige and take control of it himself, which is wild. Apparently, Feige was also ready to leave. There were rumors that he was talking to Warner Brothers about going over to DC. And this was in, like, let's think 2015. Marvel in 2015, we'd already been through Phase 1. Phase 1 is over. We are, like, deep into Phase 2. I think 2015 was the year Age of Ultron came out, I think.
Yeah.
So we're up to 2 Avengers movies. And this thing is taking off. And Ike Perlmutter wanted to fire the guy that was making it work.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Now, mind you, context for how this all came out. This was a Bob Iger drop.
Yes.
Iger's the one that dropped this information.
Bob Iger, CEO of Disney, talked about it in an interview this week.
Yeah, pretty much like putting the nail in the Ike Perlmutter coffin, because Iger and Perlmutter never, it was oil and water. And he wasn't around in 2015 when this all happened. So this is all like retroactive. Hey, you were an asshole. You're no longer going to be our asshole.
Yeah.
And kind of removing some of his power from the board, basically, by putting this out there.
Yeah. And if any of you are wondering if the MCU would have been great under Ike Perlmutter's however you say his name, leadership, all you have to do is look at what happened after. There's a corporate restructuring in 2015 that kind of freed up Kevin Feige from having to report to Ike Perlmutter, and he reported directly to Alan Horn, I guess was like the head of Disney or Marvel's film unit at that time. Or put Marvel Studios underneath like Disney's film, and didn't have they separated the TV and they separated the films. That's why like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. used to be directly tied into the MCU, and all of a sudden it really kind of wasn't anymore. It's because they separated those two divisions, and Ike Perlmutter was in charge of the TV stuff, and Kevin Feige was in charge of the films. That's why the films really took off, and it took a while for the TV universe kind of puttered out. So, like I was saying, if you want an example of how great and incredible the MCU would have been under Ike Perlmutter, you just have to watch the Inhumans.
Oh,
Did
God.
anybody watch the Inhumans?
Yes, unfortunately.
Did you really watch it?
At least a couple episodes.
I think there was only a couple.
I think there was like
only
9.
two. Didn't it
I
get
think I made it
canceled
through
after
like
2?
3.
Yeah. I remember reading that Ike Perlmutter, the Inhumans was like his thing. Like he was the one that was like driving that.
Right, because they didn't have the X-Men, he was trying to make their X-Men, and he was trying to make it with the Inhumans, and it just wasn't. He was trying to make them right. He was trying to make the Inhumans their X-Men without understanding why the Inhumans couldn't be their X-Men.
Yes. Whereas Kevin Feige was like, nah, someday we're gonna buy Fox. I'm playing a long game.
Right.
We're gonna make this happen. And he was right. So if you're not familiar with the Inhumans TV show, you may have guessed by this back and forth Steve and I just had. I think it lasted 2 episodes and was canceled because it was so terrible.
8.
Did they air all 8 episodes?
They canceled it after the 2nd episode, but they aired all 8.
They did air all 8, and it was canceled after 2. Yeah. So I haven't seen it, but I've heard it is just abominably bad.
Yeah, not great, Bob. Not great.
Yeah, not great. Anyway, so that would have been cool. It also would have been cool, like, I think I mentioned in the past a different podcast I listened to was referenced, or a host of that podcast, Matt Gorley, has said that his idea of heaven is you get to watch all the movies that were almost made, like the different versions of movies that you hear about and then weren't made. That's like his heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And I get to heaven if I get to watch a bunch of Warner Brothers DC movies that were led by Kevin Feige. Like, yeah, I'm watching that shit. That would be great.
I mean,
I'd love to see that.
This guy wanted to can the guy who their rival studio literally is for years has been trying to make the Kevin Feige of DC.
Publicly calling it that.
Right.
Publicly saying we need our Kevin Feige. They've been saying that for years, and this guy's like, we gotta get this guy out of here. He doesn't know what he's doing.
I have no idea. I have no idea what Ike Perlmutter sounds like, but by his name, that's exactly what he sounds like.
That's why I made that voice, because I was like, what would Ike Perlmutter sound like? He's got a cigar and he's an old man and he talks like this, and we got to get that guy out of here. This guy doesn't know what he's doing.
For the Inhumans, for the record, the Rotten Tomatoes score. Take a stab.
Yeah.
Take a stab at it.
Critic score or fan score? Or just like
general approval. Yeah, tomato meter approval rating.
20%.
No. Lower. 10? Slightly higher. 11% approval rating. Average rating of 3.7 out of 10.
Is it this is the one thing that I know about this show. Is it Medusa? Is the character's name Medusa? She has the long red hair. What's that?
Gorgon.
Corgan.
Gorgon.
Why did I think it was Gorgon? That's her name, really?
Medusa is a Gorgon. Is like that. That's what the species of snake people were.
Okay.
In Greek mythology.
Okay. But we're talking about the same character. She's got like long red hair and she can control it.
Yeah.
She uses her hair like octopus tentacles, basically, and can like.
Right. Not to be confused with the mutant Gorgon, who has no powers related to hair.
Okay. So this character, she has this long, incredible hair and uses it like, like octopus tentacles, can stretch it out, grab stuff, knock people over. Like that's like her power, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Or no, yeah. No, that is Medusa.
Medusa. Okay, yeah.
Right. That's Black Bolt's wife.
Yes.
But there is a Gorgon that's not a Gorgon, which makes no sense in my brain, which is why I was thrown off. Yeah.
Okay. So Medusa is this character who's known for her hair powers.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe in the first episode, she gets captured and they cut all of her hair off. Is that correct? Do you remember? Can you verify that?
I cannot verify, but that sounds as bad as it could be. Yeah.
Somebody told me that happens. Like, what? Like you were just immediately finding a way to not use this power. Like,
right.
What?
How do we keep the CGI budget down?
It's like, how do we how do we keep depowering Superboy so we don't have to spend the money to make him fly all the time? Like, well, then maybe you shouldn't be making this show. Maybe you shouldn't have Superboy in your show if you're not going to have him use his powers all the time. Same kind of thing goes for Eternals, although we did have the guy that played Black Bolt reprise his role as Black Bolt in Doctor Strange: The Multiverse of Madness, right? Same actor. Right?
Anson Mount, who, I mean, he's a established actor in his own right and just happened to get, I mean, the cast, I mean, you had Anson Mount, you had, what's his face from, from Game of Thrones. Ewan Ryan. Is that it?
Okay. I think so.
He played, what's his face? Great audio here.
We are good at this. Professional podcasters.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think, no, I remember the cast being
Ramsey
good. There's
Bolton.
like some recognizable faces. Yeah.
Yep.
So.
But
anyway, don't watch it because it's bad. And that's that story. Moving on into some comics.
Don't watch this thing. That's our story.
Our story is stay away from this at all costs. The thing we've just been talking about for 20 minutes. I'm very excited about this. G. Willow Wilson and Marcio Taraka's Poison Ivy is being turned into a regular ongoing series beginning this summer. This is a series that started out as a 6-issue miniseries, was so popular it got expanded into a 12-issue maxi series, and now is still so popular that they're just extending it into like a full ongoing series. Our own local Funky Town Comics, the owner Jesse was telling me when I picked up my copy of issue 9 just this past week, said that it is one of his most popular selling books.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's his best selling DC book that he has on the shelves, and it's one of the most popular books that he has in the store. So I think volume 1 of the first 6 issues is coming out soon. If you're interested, pick it up. It's great. It's great.
I can say too, if you're looking for any of the individual issues, the Jenny Frison covers,
oh my god,
are absolutely unreal.
Jenny Frison is my favorite cover artist. We talked about her last week. I said Jen Bartel, and you said yes because Jen Bartel has also done covers for like some of these series. I think we were talking about last week. I was talking about Jenny Frison.
Okay.
When I said I started buying Catwoman because she was doing Catwoman covers, I said Jen Bartel, but I was talking about Jenny Frison, and I realized that after we got off
and I agreed with you knowing what you were meaning, but not what you said.
Yeah. Jen Bartel is also an incredible artist. I love Jen Bartel, and she's done a lot of great stuff as well. I once interacted with her on Twitter, and it was like the highlight of my. It was great.
Yeah, the Frison
Jen
covers
Bartel
have
is
been
also incredible.
Nuts.
Yeah,
and the Catwoman ones were awesome too.
Yeah.
So
Jenny Frison is the one that also did Something Is Killing the Children variants, right? With like the math.
Did she do those? Were those her?
I think that was her
with the die cut masks.
Yep.
I could see that. That's kind of that same style, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So good. Anyway, pick up the trade volumes of 1 through 6 of Poison Ivy. They're coming out sometime soon. So good. It's like, this is a character who has often, I mean, she's known as a Batman villain, right? But like, break it down. She's somebody that is anti-corporation, pro-environment, and wants to, murder billionaires that are destroying our planet. We're really supposed to look at this person as a villain? Like, this is somebody that we should be cheering for. This is somebody who is trying to save our planet, and take down evil corporations. Like, that's a hero. I don't know. Obviously, she goes about it in terrible ways in the book, but that basic summary is somebody that sounds like you want to root for them. You know, you're like on their side, kind of.
Yeah, and they frame it really interestingly, especially in that first mini arc or first arc. It's been a phenomenal series. So
phenomenal series. Also, I got to say, just while we're talking about Poison Ivy, I'll shout this out right here. I mentioned to you earlier.
Oh yeah.
I speaking of Poison Ivy, I watched the Harley Quinn very problematic Valentine's Day special, of course, which featured Poison Ivy in a big way. It is hilarious. It is wild. It is insane. Very funny. Very silly. Very stupid. All of those things together. And at the end, they brought it back to a place where it reminded me why I love these characters, and it was a very like emotional, adorable ending. And I said to my wife, like, what a show that can do all this insane, dumb, silly, stupid, funny, hilarious stuff, and at the end bring it back to a thing where you're like, oh yeah, I love these guys. This is heartwarming. At the end, like, it's insane. There's a whole thing with Bane that I did not see coming, that they do not tell you in the trailers. It's just it's called a very problematic Valentine's Day special because of what happens to Bane in this series. I'm laughing about it, thinking about it. It's so wild. I don't want to spoil it because it's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
I had done that double take while you were talking, not for anything to do with Poison Ivy, but I had typed in Jenny Frison, Something's Killing the Children. I did not realize her variant that she did for issue 1, which is a badass issue 1 variant in general.
I didn't realize she did them that early on.
I didn't either. But $160. Ungraded. Like, just if you want the floppy of that cover. And that's for Midtown, so it's not like it's overpriced. Like, they're usually
What's the regular one?
Okay, let's play that game. Give me a number you think.
Just like the regular A cover of Something's Killing the Children.
Of Something's Killing the Children. One
the variant is
ungraded. Variant
ungraded.
is 160. And the variant's the C cover.
So the variant's more, obviously, than the A cover. Oh. 200?
Still waiting.
Whoa, 3?
Still waiting.
What? 350?
No.
Higher? 500.
440.
Steve, I have a $440 comic book sitting right over there on the other side of this room from me. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's what it's selling for from Midtown right now.
Sweet
Actually,
Jesus.
No. And that's 20% off because they're running their 20% off sale right now. So, $550.
What? All right. Anyone want to give me $500? I got a book sitting right over there.
Oh God.
I gotta grade that shit. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Ungraded. They're selling it for that much. It's like, okay.
Wow. Hooray for me for picking up that book on a whim.
Right.
At Cloud City Comics 8 years ago or whenever I did that, whenever it came out.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff.
Well, that was like when I picked up that up there, they had a half off. You know how we used to do half off, even the graded books, you'd do half off. I had picked up that Darth Vader 3 for $65. It's like a $400 book now. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, I just thought it was cool.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I haven't looked, but like, I know that, like we talked about last week, that the first issue of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is now a $40 book at least on like eBay and stuff. It's going for that. I have that. I also have the first reboot issue of Booster Gold, and that's about to become a series. So like that might be highly sought after too. And you know, I just bought that at like a back issue for like $4 or whatever. You know, I also have some really old Swamp Things. I don't have, you know, number ones or anything, but I got some old Swamp Things. So I think those might be skyrocketing in value as well. Who knows? Anyway, that's wild. Thank you for telling me that I have an incredibly valuable book.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That I should probably make sure is
secured in some sort of plastic.
Secured. Yeah, exactly. Jesus Christ. All right. Other piece of comic news: Marvel celebrating Nick Fury's 60th anniversary with a giant-sized one-shot. I feel like Nick Fury is a character that I wouldn't expect them to care about enough to give him an anniversary issue for some reason. But
you know why they are?
Why?
Secret Invasion's dropping this year.
Oh, sure, of course. Yeah. I didn't think about that, but
yep. I got a hunch that's the only reason they're getting a shout out. Like, because he's come to prominence because of the MCU.
Right. Yeah. When I was reading, I'll finish this. I guess that's from writer Al Ewing, artists, a few different artists, Scott Eaton, Tom Riley, Adam Kubert, and Ramon Rosanas. Each artist is going to cover a different period in Fury's life, with the through line being written by Al Ewing. So kind of a cool way to celebrate 60 years of Nick Fury. And that's cool. And I wonder if this is going to touch on like the old version of Nick Fury as well. If listeners or watchers may be only familiar with Nick Fury being played by Samuel L. Jackson in the MCU, you should know that the original Nick Fury for 40 years was white. Yeah, easily just an old white dude. Cigar smoking, gray templed, grizzled white dude.
1963 was his first appearance, so
yeah, 60 years. I miss an MCU being led by Nick Fury. I think he's like kind of been sidelined a little bit, and he's not really in control of the Avengers anymore. I miss him being like a big part, and he's kind of shown up like he was in Captain Marvel. Like he's in Spider-Man Far From Home, but in like a weird thing where it ended up not even really being him. I feel like I miss him being like in control of things and him being like a hub of, here's what's going to happen, Avengers, go,
Right.
I miss him being more involved, and I hope that he is more involved moving forward. And
well,
maybe
even
getting
like
Secret Wars, so hopefully that's not Secret Invasion, sorry.
Secret Invasion.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my thoughts on Nick Fury.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine. It seems weird that they're giving him a 60th, but hey, whatever.
I mean, I think he's earned it, though. Like, I think even without Secret Invasion, I think he's a character that deserves a celebration because he's been around. He's been integral for so long, but he's always kind of been like a B or C level character. He's never been the X-Men. He's never been Spider-Man.
I guess I usually only expect the anniversary type stuff for the A-listers.
Exactly, the A-listers, which is why I think it's cool that they're doing this for him, even though you're right. Now, as soon as you said, I was like, yeah, it's clearly to promote Secret Invasion, but worthy of it nonetheless, I think. This week at your local comic book store, we got Avengers Forever 14, Batgirls number 15, Batman Scooby-Doo Mysteries number 5.
My new favorite
reading with your son.
My new favorite comic book, apparently, or at least my son's. Had to read issues 1 through 4 many times at this point, so
it's great.
Also,
Batman
reading comic books to a 5-year-old, not easy.
No, it's not easy. You have to like point and make sure that they're following, because I'm like
reading like pointing and then trying to half glance over at his eyes to make sure he's where I am.
He's looking where I'm pointing. Yeah. And then Batman said this.
Right.
Like, it's kind of, you can't just read it like a book because they have to direct their eyes. Exactly. Anyway, Batman Beyond the White Knight number 8. Batman The Adventures Continue. The Batman the Animated Series spinoff season 3 issue 2 is out this week. Captain Marvel number 46. Danger Street number 3. Dead Lucky number 6. 8 Billion Genies number 7. If you don't pick this book up, I think you're crazy. Fantastic Four number 4. Come on. Fantastic Four number 4. 2 4s. What? Grimm number 8, House of Slaughter number 12, Hulk number 12, Icon versus Hardware number 1, Invincible Iron Man number 3, Last Barbarians number 1, Marauders number 11, Marvel's Voices Wakanda Forever number 1, Mary Jane and Black Cat number 3, My Brother's Blood Machine number 3. Don't know what that's about. Cool title though. Nightcrawlers number 1, Shirtless Bear Fighter 2 number 7. Spider-Man number 5, Star Wars number 31, Swamp Thing Green Hell number 2. Steve, Green Hell number 1 came out over a year ago, and it was excellent.
Okay.
And I am stoked to finally read number 2. I'm going to have to reread number 1 because I don't remember what happened, but I remember it was excellent. So Swamp Thing Green Hell number 2. Honestly, maybe I'll just wait till there's a trade because I think 3 is probably coming out sooner than later. Anyway. Wasp number 2, Wolverine number 30, and X-Men number 19. Woo! Steve, anything you're looking to pick up this week, or have you read anything this past week?
I mean, Batman Scooby-Doo, of course.
Of course.
Nightcrawlers. So, shit's getting weird in the X-Men pantheon.
Getting?
Yes.
Hasn't been weird for at least 20 years. Yeah.
No, this is even more so. Mr. Sinister is in charge of everything. And everything's a clone and everything's weird. And Nightcrawlers is a book about Sinister's army of genetically altered variants of Nightcrawler, all mixed with various like your normal high profile mutants, led by Wagnerine, which, as you can imagine, is Kurt and Laura
Wolverine.
crossed. Well, yeah.
Wow.
I think it'd be too weird for the buddy cop duo to be the cross, so I think they went with Laura.
Wow.
So yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's again, like I said, now do you understand why I said it got weird?
Yep.
Because there was a level of weird we've been rolling at for the longest time, and it just went to 10.
Wow, man.
So
okay.
Yeah.
Are you gonna pick that up?
Out of yes. Like I have to. I feel like like since the Sinister one was good enough for me to continue reading it. I do like how they're portraying Sinister. So
good.
It's a lot of these have been in his voice recently, and
cool.
It's hard to portray the thoughts of Mr. Sinister. So a complete crazy person that is also a genius and
manipulative genius.
Right, extremely old, but also weird.
Weird and wild.
Yeah. So I'll keep you updated on how that one is.
Please do.
Anything on your end?
I picked up a couple books this week. I haven't read them yet. The new Batman. I read Flash 792, the third part of 1 Minute War.
Yep.
Still really good. I like it a lot. It's pretty cool. Refamiliarizing myself with the Flash family. There's a lot of speedsters that I forgot about. I'm like, oh yeah, that guy. Oh yeah, Max Mercury is a thing. Oh yeah, Jesse Quick. Like all these other Flash spin-off.
They're doing real good with the names. Like it's just.
Oh yeah. No, it's great. Yeah. I mean, there's the Flash and the Flash and Kid Flash, and also
Reverse Flash.
Reverse Flash. Yeah. Then they're like, we have too many with Flash in the name. We gotta what's something else that's quick? Mercury? Yeah, sure. Mac Mercury. How about just the word quick? Jesse Quick. Done. Impulse. Let's do Impulse.
Yeah.
So a lot going on there. But I like it a lot. It's a really cool story.
Nice.
I think that's all I read this week. As I mentioned last week, I'm doing my yearly songwriting challenge where I write and record 14 songs during the month of February. So that's been taking up most of my time.
I can imagine.
Time for
that
watching.
Children of the Black Sun 2 came out last week, and I picked it up, and I have not read it, but
cool.
That was that series I was saying was pretty solid. Like,
yeah,
hooked me with the alternate covers, the Something's Killed the Children covers. And I was able to get 28, and I haven't read it yet, so almost caught up on that on Something That's Killing the Children as well. So we're getting there.
Yeah, I still haven't. I haven't that 28 of Something Is Killing. I still haven't read.
Yep.
I gotta get on that. It's in my pile. But
just don't touch number 1 right now.
No, I'm never touching it again unless I send it out.
That will not get opened again.
To get graded. Clearly, Jesus. I feel like that would be wild if that's the most. I mean, I have some old books. If that's the most, I don't know that I have anything else that is close to that. So if that's the most expensive book that I own, I think that's wild because I only bought it a couple of years ago. I bought it 4 years ago or whatever. And, I have Suicide Squad #1, and I just got that for $50. There's no way that's $500. Wild. But it's also like it wasn't. It's a boom book. It's not a big studio. It's not one of the big two. So there's probably less copies of it were made, and they probably didn't really start pumping it into production until it got popular.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. Right now, yeah, 9.6 on eBay went for like 428.
Jeez.
So,
wow,
not bad.
Okay.
Like 9.0, you're looking like 250 over the last year. So,
wow, insane. All right. Cool. Okay, we only got one shot for tonight's episode. We know we've been talking about Marvel a whole lot, but this one shot, DC news, and this DC news probably would have been in the regular rundown in the last couple of weeks, but we're talking about DC a lot, so we relegated it to one shots tonight. And this is pretty cool. More confirmation that previously announced DC Warner Brothers things are still happening. And this is one of these properties I thought of recently after the James Gunn announcement. I was like, oh, wait. When he was talking about that Elseworlds banner, he specifically mentioned Joker. He mentioned the Batman. And he mentioned Teen Titans Go. He didn't mention anything else. And we assumed the Harley Quinn show. Yes, we assumed. Well, we got confirmation on Superman and Lois is going to continue. Two other things that are going to continue. The Kite Man series, the Harley Quinn spin-off animated series, Kite Man, which I'm very excited about because I love the Harley Quinn series, and Kite Man is a hilarious character in that show. That is still happening. Still happening. We talked about that when it was announced a year or so ago. It's animation and it takes a long time. But also, almost more shocking that this is still happening, Keanu Reeves' Constantine 2. Still moving forward at Warner Brothers and will just be released under the DC Elseworlds banner. I think for Warner Brothers, that is smart. You've got a bankable star like Keanu Reeves making a sequel to a movie that has become a cult classic since it's been released. I think it's smart of them to keep doing Constantine 2. I can't imagine they're going to get a Constantine 3. I can't imagine that we're going to get a different James Gunn DCU version of that character. You know, maybe even appearing in the Swamp Thing movie because he was originally appeared in Alan Moore's Swamp Thing run. It was his first appearance. So,
I mean, it makes
sense that we get. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say maybe they keep going with if Constantine 2 does well. The beauty of Elseworlds is that they can just keep rolling that and then still have John Constantine show up somewhere else.
Yeah, and also like Keanu Reeves. We've talked about this in the past. Keanu Reeves looks and acts nothing like the comic book version of John Constantine. So there would be little to no confusion between the two characters.
Yeah.
At all. It's not like you have two tall, dark, and handsome guys playing the same character and it's hard to tell them apart. One is Keanu Reeves. One, I mean, should be
crotchety old English dude.
Yeah, like a crotchety blonde, chain smoking English guy.
Yep.
So, Keanu Reeves is mostly none of those things.
Right. And we just got Joanna Constantine too.
Man, yeah, I would love more of her. I hope they work her into Sandman season 2 because I thought she was excellent.
Absolutely.
And that's all we got. That's all I got. Is that all you got, Steve?
Yeah, good here. If you're watching us, then feel free to like, subscribe, ring the bell to figure out when we're going live or upload a new video, and that'll let you know. If you're listening on the audio feeds, then subscribe to us. We talked about it earlier. Please do, and leave us a review. It'll help other people find us, help trick the computers into telling more people that we exist. And other than that, follow us on Twitter, our Multiverse RPT, the Multiverse Report on everything else, including Gmail and or a website.
.com. That's right. Cool. Well, that's all we got for tonight. So until next time, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the multiverse.